the U.S. doesn't do more about climate change.
The president shaking his head in disbelief at the deadly New York and New Jersey storm damage 1,300 miles from the hurricane landfall and blaming climate change for the monster storms.
We can't turn it back very much, but we can prevent it from getting worse.
The president including anti-pollution and carbon bills in his infrastructure proposal, which many Republicans have said will not pass in the Senate. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Two more storm deaths.
Shaking his head in
2 more storm deaths confirmed in Louisiana, including a man who died repairing the damage that Ida did to his roof. At least 71 deaths in 8 states are blamed on Ida. 52 of them are in the Northeast. Crisis standard of care activated today in northern Idaho, where hospitals have more COVID-19 patients than they can handle. The state's Health and Human Services Director, Dave Jefferson, says the problem is likely to get worse.
Yesterday, Kootenai had their record high for COVID cases for inpatients, critical care, ICU, and number of patients on ventilators. And we expect those numbers to increase.
Idaho is in the bottom 10% of state vaccination rates. Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a sweeping election reform bill saying it could be replicated in other states.
Other states are looking for a paradigm of what is a good approach to make sure that everybody who wants to vote is going to have the opportunity to do so. This is that type of bill.
Supporters say the bill expands early voting and it allows people to take off from work to vote, but critics say it restricts mail-in voting. It ends 24-hour and drive-through voting, and it offers additional protections to partisan poll watchers. Stocks closed mostly lower, but gains in tech stocks pushed the NASDAQ to another record. You're listening to ABC News.
Deb's constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating.
From the KMET Weather Center for Beaumont, Banning, and the Pass area. For today, sunshine, a high of 97 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny and a high of 100. For the Palm Springs area, heat advisory through Friday. Sunny today, high of 96. Tomorrow, sunny and 99. I'm Rick Bennett for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
Many Catholics today are tired of the anti-Catholic values in their community, school, workplace, and even in their own parish. Are you one of them? If you are, please come listen to Michael Voris and Patrick Coffin speak at the California Resistance Boot Camp in Orange County the weekend of September 24th through the 26th. Visit cmresistance.com. Michael Voris and Patrick Coffin will speak on how you can take back the Catholic message. Learn more at cmresistance.com. Don't wait. Get your tickets before they are gone at cmresistance.com.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
The WK Law Power Hour is here to take you from zero to hero in legal knowledge in 60 minutes. A law firm with 40 years of experience is ready to give you legal guidance you need for free. What could be better than that? Amazing stories about actual cases, interesting and informative guests. Listen, watch, call in. Come ready to learn. And now your host for WK Law Power Hour, Paul Wallin.
Hi, everybody. This is Paul Wallin. I am the host of the WK Law Power Hour. I'm also the senior partner of Wallin Klarich, and our main website is wklaw.com. We've been helping people accused of crimes, family law disputes, restraining orders, many other areas of law for a tremendous number of years, longer than I like to admit, but the answer is 40 years, 4 decades. I'm the senior partner and the founder of that law firm. And obviously you can see KMET, you can watch me, you can go to KMET and listen on the radio. I want you to know this is our 17th show. That means 17 consecutive weeks I've hosted this show, and we've had some amazing and knowledgeable lawyers on the show. And I had a bail bondsman on the show to help people with that. But mostly lawyers answering your legal questions from all over California and even questions from other states. And in all those shows, I have been the questioner. Today, I get the great honor of being the questioner and the answer. So those that are watching on live are just going to be listening to me, and those on TikTok who normally listen to me ask questions, but they can't hear the answers, are going to get to hear the answers. So I think that's going to be great. And if there's any questions I get from TikTok, I'll try to answer those as well if I can and repeat them for the people watching on TV or radio. I wanted to say that this is the last live show of 17 weeks, and it has been one of my greatest honors to be able to offer tremendous legal advice to so many thousands of people. But the problem is, I did not realize when I took on this task how much time it takes to prepare for a show like this, and then the show itself. And my partners who really encouraged me to do the show realized that it takes away so much time from my work at the office, where I'm talking to clients who are calling facing serious crimes or serious child custody battles. And I'm normally there to answer them and to calm them down. And I can't do that and prepare for the show and do this. But it's been a tremendous honor. The idea of this show was basically legal knowledge, and to take people from zero to hero in terms of their legal knowledge, especially when they're asked a question by a family member or at a party. They're not the doofus. They know. And so if you want to call me today at the show, you can call me at 951-922-3532, and I'd absolutely love to talk to you and answer your question. I'm going to be talking in a few minutes about some very, very national legal matters that are going on. I'm sure many of you will support my views. I'm sure many of you will be upset at my views. And all of it is dialogue. The only way we can get to a proper conclusion to any issue is to dialogue about it, and not violently, and not with cuss words, and not hateful speech, just honest dialogue. I think that's the only way we're going to get through this COVID thing, because it's so divided in our country. If you have a legal question and you want to call our law firm after the show's over, please jot down 877-466-5245, and that will get you directly to our law office if you have a pending legal matter that you would like help with. And we help hundreds and hundreds of people every day. The people that call our office that need immediate need are people that are facing felony charges or DUI, or they're facing a child dependency case where their kids have been taken away. Oh, thank you very much. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy giving free legal advice. And that's why I think I have almost 100,000 followers on TikTok, because if you follow me, then I'll be able to answer your questions if I'm capable of it. So today, right after the break, we're going to be discussing two separate legal issues. One is the recent law passed by the state of Texas, which in effect bans all abortions in the state of Texas. My personal view about it will be expressed after the break, but just in general, I believe it's one of the most dangerous laws that have ever been passed in the United States, and what it's going to do to people, tear that state apart on this issue, and try to make people that are out for money and make poor people seeking an abortion have to pay $10,000 just for trying to seek an abortion. And we're also going to talk about the laws pertaining to vaccinations. And what is the law about? Can you be forced to take a vaccination? Can you be forced to leave your job? All that stuff. Anyway, let's go to the break, and after the break, let's talk about those issues. And I appreciate any calls, 951-922-3532. Call in. I'd love to talk to you.
You've been charged with a crime, and now you're facing the loss of your freedom. Where do you turn to get out of jail or stay out of jail? The law offices of Wallin Klarich. Call 877-4-NO-JAIL. With over 20 years experience and attorneys who work in your local courts, Wallin Klarich can make the difference between jail and freedom. When you need help, make one call. Make it to Wallin Klarich. 877-4-NO-JAIL. The call is free. Will you be?
When your children are taken by social workers, it may be the worst day of your life. When will I see my children again? Where are they going? How can I get them back? Who can I turn to for help to end this nightmare? The answers to all these questions are a phone call or email away. Wallin Klarich have been helping defend parents who are battling the system to regain custody of their children for 40 years. Many of their clients have done nothing wrong to warrant their children being taken from them. Other clients may regret some action that they've taken with their children. However, in every case, the clients desperately need their children back. That's where Wallin Klarich comes in. They know the dependency system. They will do all they can to work to try to get your children back with you. Take the first step and call Wallin Klarich now for a free phone consultation at 877-466-5245. That's 877-466-5245. Or visit wklaw.com to chat with us. They'll be there when you call.
If you are facing criminal charges, your entire future is at stake. You need to act now to protect your job, your family, and your freedom. Call Wallin Klarich at 877-4-NO-JAIL. Wallin Klarich has over 30 years of experience in fighting for our clients' rights. With local offices in Riverside and San Bernardino, we are here to help you now. Call 877-4-NO-JAIL or go to wklaw.com. How much is your freedom worth? Call 877-466-5245. The call is free. Will you be?
Hey, are you okay to drive? Yeah, I'm fine.
17 to Central Jail.
If you've been arrested for DUI and are facing DMV in court hearings, it could mean losing your license, your job, and even your freedom. But Wallin Klarich can help. Just call 877-4-NO-JAIL. With attorneys who know your local courts, Wallin Klarich can make the difference between jail and freedom. Call Wallin Klarich at 877-4-NO-JAIL. The call is free. Will you be?
When you have a warrant for your arrest, it's a very scary time in your life. When you drive a car, you have to be extra careful that you do not commit any sort of moving violation. You have to be looking over your shoulder, checking for police officers. Will you be stopped and thrown in jail? What a horrible feeling. For over 40 years, we have helped thousands of persons resolve their problem with having a warrant. In some cases, we can actually appear in court for you without you being present to recall the warrant. Depending on the facts of your case, you may never have to do 1 minute in jail. Stop living in fear. Call us now for a free phone consultation at 877-4-NO-JAIL. That is 877-4-NO-JAIL. Or go to wklaw.com. Isn't it time to get your life back? We will be there when you call.
We're back. WK Law Power Hour. This is our last live show of the series, and so all gloves are off. Today, I want to talk to everyone out there who I believe has a brain that the new law that was passed by the Texas legislature, which is 90% male, is absolutely nuts. It's one of the most dangerous and stupid laws that I've ever heard of. It allows people to benefit out of the suffering of others. If you would like to discuss that law, call 951-922-3532, and we'll be glad to discuss it. In the meantime, if someone calls in about any question about a legal matter, I'll be glad to talk to them about that as well. What this law does, it makes it a crime for a doctor or a nurse or a woman or a friend of a woman or someone who counsels a woman to have an abortion if the fetus is 6 weeks or more along in the pregnancy. It allows anyone in Texas who hears about someone who has had an abortion to not only go to the authorities and turn them in, but then to hire a lawyer and sue the person who helped the person have an abortion. And this person who's allowed to sue under this law can collect at least $10,000 from every person who was involved in that young lady having an abortion. Can you imagine what this means? A young girl is raped and she has no idea she's pregnant. She doesn't find out until she's 6 weeks along. She has her whole life ahead of her. She's going to college, doesn't know what she's going to make of herself. And now it's a crime in Texas for her to have an abortion. She can go to jail, and so can the doctor and nurse who performed the procedure. And this young girl, in addition, can be sued by anyone in Texas for $10,000 or more. Who in the hell thinks that's okay? Who in the hell with a brain thinks that makes sense? Because guess what I see in my mind? Because lawyers are always out for money. I can see this billboard by a lawyer in Texas. Hire me, and we can track down young rape victims that terminated their pregnancy, and we can sue them, and then we can share in the profits. How effed up is that, guys? How crazy is that? A law that easily was passed by men because they don't understand what it's like to endure a 9-month pregnancy. I have been the father of 3 children, and I saw what it was like for my wife to go through 9 months of pregnancy 3 times. And now I have 6 grandchildren, and I have watched my daughter and my 2 daughters-in-law go through that, a total of 6 times. I don't think I could go through something like that. I think men are weak. The same men that say it's too difficult or it's their body, their choice to take a stinking vaccine, it's totally fine to tell a woman, it's really not your body, it's really not your choice. It's not. You've got to continue with that pregnancy. I don't care if you were raped. I don't care if it's incest. I don't care if you've got medical issues. I don't care if you have to drop out of school. That's all a law in Texas. And you know what else? I'm spreading, listen to me. Read the law yourself. Please, read the law yourself. It's all over the website. You don't have to rely on me. You don't have to rely on Google. They printed the entire law. What I just told you is an absolute fact. If you are raped, you still must continue that pregnancy. It's that simple. And to say that, well, the person could have used birth control is ridiculous. Should she somehow be punished for the rest of her life, having to give birth to a child that she absolutely doesn't want? And what about the women who bear a child that they do not want, but they still do not give that child up for adoption? What kind of life is that unwanted child going to have? Our society is filled with children who have serious mental issues, psychological issues, because of the relationship they had with their parents. And if this woman is forced to have a child that resulted from a rape, and in Texas you can be punished, go to jail, and pay other people in Texas who have nothing to do with it $10,000 or more because they're going to profit on this? What morons could have passed such a law? So now what? The Supreme Court was asked to kill the law immediately. They voted 5-4. This is one of the most important things I'm going to tell you about Donald Trump. Roe versus Wade was a law in the United States, in every state, since 1973. And it said that a woman had the right to choose whether or not to terminate her pregnancy so long as it was before the 2nd trimester. No longer in Texas. And why is that the case, ladies and gentlemen? Why? It's because Donald Trump appointed 3 justices to the Supreme Court. And the last one was the biggest slap in the face of women that ever could happen. Ruth Ginsburg died, one of the heroes of women in this country, a tremendous supporter of women's rights. And she died And Donald Trump replaced her with Amy Barrett. Amy Barrett is very, very anti-abortion. And that was the 5th vote on the Supreme Court. 5 justices that basically have been talking about overruling Roe versus Wade. If Roe versus Wade gets overturned by the Supreme Court, then every state will be allowed to do something like Texas did. So if you are in favor of abolishing abortions in all circumstances in this country, then you can absolutely say Trump is my hero. But if you do not believe that a woman should have the right to her choice of her own body, then you should think Trump is a jerk, because Trump is the one responsible. But the battle's not over, because even though the Supreme Court refused to stop that law from going into effect, a federal district judge in Texas has stopped that law from going into effect to stop people from suing Planned Parenthood right now. But that expires on the 17th of September, and who in the hell knows what's going to happen after that. But I believe that when the full Supreme Court hears this entire case, I believe they're going to see how ridiculous it is to allow private citizens to financially benefit out of the unfortunate situation of a woman having to find out she was pregnant that was not planned. Why in God's name is it okay for people to benefit financially off the sorrows of these other people? That's how nuts this law is. And what's even worse is that 2/3 of the American people in a survey in 2020 support Roe versus Wade. So once again, the minority in this country win. 1/3 of the people believe that, I guess, abortion should not be legal, but 2/3 of the people in this country believe the Roe decision was correct. And Texas ignored the feelings of 2/3 of America. Of course, people are saying, some people are saying that abortion is murder. But they've been saying that for hundreds of years, and that has not stopped America, states in the United States, all 50 states, from allowing abortions to take place safely by a doctor, not with a hanger in a back alley. If you would like to discuss this with me, call 951-922-3532, and I'll be glad to discuss it with you intelligently, not in a manner that is not respectful of both of our opinions. So people are saying, it's no big deal. It's no big deal in Texas, because all these women will just get on a jet plane and fly to a place and get into a hotel for a week and have their abortion in Oklahoma or Louisiana. Well, first of all, we all know that a very high percentage of women who have abortions do so because they don't think they can afford to support a child. So these women are not getting on any plane because they can't afford plane fare. They're going to have to figure out, how am I going to get to another state that allows abortions? Where am I going to get the money to do that? And the worst part is that, guess what happened now? Because Texas has seen that the Supreme Court may allow this, already several other states, men in several other states, want to impose the same kind of crazy law in their state. It's absolutely a fact. That's what's happening. Again, don't trust my word. Just see, type in Google, what are other states doing to try to eliminate abortion in their states? So it's really, really, really important, guys, that you understand that this is not going away without a battle, not going away. Should a woman have the right, legally, to terminate a pregnancy in the first trimester? That's something that's going to ultimately be in the hands of the Supreme Court. And it matters because some of the current Supreme Court justices are elderly. And once again, Biden is in the White House. and he has another 2 years if one of the Supreme Court justices dies or retires. But if they do not, then guess what? The 2024 election will be critical because, of course, the new president, if it's not Biden, will be able to appoint the next Supreme Court justice. And if it's another conservative, it's going to tilt this country way to the right. So the next thing I'd like to discuss is Delta and the legal facts of what's going on in this country. So before I came on to the show today, I went to 2 different well-respected sources, one the New York Times and one the Post. And if you guys think for whatever reason that COVID is on the dip, you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself, man. Nationally, COVID deaths have increased in recent weeks. And here's some important stats. Over the last 7 days, 1,500 people have died on average this last week, right? In July of 2020, that number was 200. 200 in July of 2020, 1,500 in September of 2021. That includes school teachers. That includes so many other people. It is so sad. And here's another statistic for you guys in Florida. You guys in Florida listening to this thing, and Governor DeSantis, please listen to what I'm going to say right now. Governor DeSantis went to court to try to get a judge to say that school districts cannot require children to wear masks, that it's up to the parents. And the school districts fought it. And DeSantis, hi Paul, how can I help you today?
Hey, how's it going? So I just had a quick question. One of my friends got a DUI recently, and apparently they didn't do all the tests that you always hear about, like see in the movies, you know, like standing on one leg, counting. And I was curious if that is enough to overturn a DUI arrest, or are those needed? Do you have to take the test?
That's a really good question. So Paul has called about a DUI, and while are you calling from California or another state?
Yeah, California, Barstow.
Okay, so since we're a California law firm that handles DUIs, I think this is so important for the people that listen. The question was that the person was arrested for DUI and the officer didn't give him those tests, walk a line, etc. Does that mean that the charge has to be dropped? So I'm going to give you some very, very important advice about this. And you guys should listen, no matter what you're thinking about talking about the vaccines. This is real life. People drink. They shouldn't drive. They do drive. I advocate to never drink and drive, to always have a designated driver. I've seen so much death. I've seen so much horrible things happen to people. I've seen the person that got the DUI spend many years in prison because someone died. And I've seen the horror to families of someone that dies in a DUI accident. So I am an absolute believer in never drinking and drive. And I mean even one drink. And get a goddamn Uber. Don't be cheap. But if you get arrested for a DUI, the consequences are great. And the burden is on the prosecution to prove the case. So what I recommend to people, if they are stupid enough to have drank and drive and got stopped, and they don't want to go to jail, when the officer tells them to take a field sobriety test, those tests are geared to fail. That means they're very hard to pass even if you're an Olympic athlete. So if you take the field sobriety test, the officer is going to say you failed. And that's often 1/3 of the case against you. But if you say to the officer, I spoke to my lawyer and he says, do not take the field sobriety test, so I'm not taking it, the officer can't do anything to you. You're not required to take it. He only wants that test to put you in jail. So don't take the test if you've been drinking. Then you've taken away 1/3 of the case against him. And the next question I get is, What if the officer asked me to blow into this machine at the scene? It's a little handheld device, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in California, if you refuse to blow into the machine, there's no consequences to you. You do not get your license suspended for not blowing into the machine at the scene. So now, if you don't do that, you've taken away 2/3 of the case against you. He doesn't have a blood alcohol result. He doesn't have a field sobriety test. So now you're left with your driving. Well, what if the officer pulled you over for speeding? Well, speeding is no evidence of driving under the influence. So if that's the only reason he pulled you over for, you may get out of it. The officer may say, I don't have enough evidence to arrest this dude. And you walk. And then maybe go to AA meetings. Maybe say, I'm the luckiest blank in the world, and I promise never to drink and drive again, which I pray you do. That's the bottom line. Now,
Okay.
What if you get arrested? What if you get arrested for DUI? What should you do? Should you then blow into that machine at the station or take a blood test? Well, in California, if you don't agree to a test, first of all, the cops can get a warrant and force you to draw blood, and that's ugly. Also, if you don't take a test at the station, blow into the machine, or take a blood test, the DMV can pull your license, and the officer will tell you that. And so long as the officer signs a declaration under penalty of perjury that he told you that, even if you win the DUI case, you can still lose your license with the DMV. But my point is, the officer has to have probable cause to arrest you at first. And if you don't take the field sobriety test, and another thing, when the officer asks you how much you've had to drink, you don't have to answer his question. You can say, my lawyer told me never to answer that question. I don't think I'm drunk, officer, but my lawyer said I shouldn't answer that question. So now you don't have an admission you drank 4 drinks. So all those things are, I'm sure I answered your question more than you needed, but for those that ever get a DUI, that is really good legal advice. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. Thank you. That was really helpful.
Okay. Have a great day.
You as well. Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, so I think it's time for a break. Okay, so after the break, we're now going to talk about some other legal matters and a little more about my buddy, Governor DeSantis of Florida.
You've been charged with a crime, and now you're facing the loss of your freedom. Where do you turn to get out of jail or stay out of jail? The law offices of Wallin Klarich. Call 877-4-NO-JAIL. With over 20 years' experience and attorneys who work in your local courts, Wallin Klarich can make the difference between jail and freedom. When you need help, make one call. Make it to Wallin Klarich. 877-4-NO-JAIL. The call is free. Will you be?
When your children are taken by social workers, it may be the worst day of your life. When will I see my children again? Where are they going? How can I get them back? Who can I turn to for help to end this nightmare? The answers to all these questions are a phone call or email away. Wallin Klarich have been helping defend parents who are battling the system to regain custody of their children for 40 years. Many of their clients have done nothing wrong to warrant their children being taken from them. Other clients may regret some action that they've taken with their children. However, in every case, the clients desperately need their children back. That's where Wallin Klarich comes in. They know the dependency system. They will do all they can to work to try to get your children back with you. Take the first step and call Wallin Klarich now for a free phone consultation at 877-466-5245. That's 877-466-5245. Or visit wklaw.com to chat with us. They'll be there when you call.
Hey, are you okay to drive? Yeah, I'm fine.
17 to Central Jail.
If you've been arrested for DUI and are facing DMV and court hearings, it could mean losing your license, your job, and even your freedom. But Wallin Klarich can help. Just call 877-4-NO-JAIL. With attorneys who know your local courts, Wallin Klarich can make the difference between jail and freedom. Call Wallin Klarich at 877-4-NO-JAIL. The call is free. Will you be?
When you are facing a serious criminal charge, it means you may be looking at many years in prison or doing up to 1 year in county jail. Most people do not know who to turn to in their time of need for expert legal guidance. What you do next can make the difference between ending up in prison for many years or having your charges dismissed and you going free. At this very critical time in your life, you need Wallin Klarich fighting for you. Wallin Klarich has 40 years of criminal defense experience, and they work very hard to do all they can to win their clients' cases. Wallin Klarich has a team of 10 criminal defense lawyers fighting for their clients every day. They help people with cases pending throughout California. They successfully defend cases dealing with murder, sex crimes, all felonies, as well as misdemeanors. Check out WKLaw.com for some real client success stories. They offer a free phone consultation to answer your questions. Call them toll-free at 877-4-NO-JAIL. That's 877-4-NO-JAIL. They will be there when you call.
If you are facing criminal charges, your entire future is at stake. You need to act now to protect your job, your family, and your freedom. Call Wallin Klarich at 877-4-NO-JAIL. Wallin Klarich has over 30 years of experience in fighting for our clients' rights. With local offices in Riverside and San Bernardino, we are here to help you now. Call 877-4-NO-JAIL or go to WKLaw.com. How much is your freedom worth? Call 877-466-5245. The call is free. Will you be? We're back at the WK Law Power Hour, and we were talking before the break about the legal issues surrounding the vaccine. And Governor DeSantis passed a law or wanted to enforce a law that said kids shouldn't wear masks because he thinks he had everything under control in Florida. Well, September 6th, the week of September 6th in Florida, 415 people died of COVID. 1 year prior to that, the number was 22 people. The week of August 27th, the 7-day average of people getting the Delta virus, or the CV, in Florida, 21,680 people. August 27th of 2020, 3,341 people. So deaths have gone up 20-fold in the last year and 8-fold for infections. So whatever DeSantis is doing with his ideas are not working. And that is why the government is clamping down on people. No one can force you to get a vaccine. Let me make that clear. The government is not forcing you to get a vaccine, but the government is doing everything else they can do legally. And one is, you can't be unvaccinated anymore and be in the military in this country after September 15th. Either you have to get a vaccine or you have to test regularly. Many colleges across the country are saying, don't come to college this fall unless you're vaccinated. And what if your boss fires you because you refuse to get vaccinated? Here's the law. It's legal. Your boss is protecting customers and other employees. And then if you apply for unemployment, you're likely going to lose, which means losing your pension, losing your insurance, your health insurance. And speaking of that, Delta Airlines recently imposed a $200 a month extra fee for anyone that's not vaccinated to pay for health insurance, because they say that it costs the government much more money to take care of an unvaccinated person than a vaccinated person. So I wanted you guys to know that this show has been about not just those issues, but it's been about helping people with child custody issues, helping people with DUI, helping people with traffic tickets. The common person, the common person that deals with these kind of issues every day. Whether you should sue someone, what do I do in a breach of contract? These national issues are great, but they're not the kind of thing that most people deal with every single day. And that is why we took this show on, not to discuss primarily national issues, but bread and butter issues that help the average person here in Southern California and around the country. And I was discussing before, why do you hire a lawyer in the first place? So I want to talk about this. A lot of people think that if they get
if they think they're going to be prosecuted for a crime, there's nothing they can do. And here in California, that's really not a good decision. In California, if you believe you may be prosecuted for a crime because you've been contacted by a police officer or someone, or your ex-wife says she's going to the police, that is the time to contact our law firm, because that is the time where we can help you. We can find out your version of events. We can get your backstory, the history of your life, why you say you're not guilty, and then we can tell you, don't talk to the police. Let us talk to the police for you, and we can do our best to stop the criminal charges. If you sit and wait for the district attorney to file charges when they never got your side of the story, now you have a criminal record. Now you've been prosecuted. Now it's harder to get the charges dropped. And it's so much less money to hire someone to try to help you kill the charges at the beginning than it is after you've been prosecuted. Because now that's court appearances, that may be bail, and the case could go on for a year, and it can be very expensive to hire us after charges are filed. But too many times people gamble with their freedom. They think, oh, okay, maybe I'll pray it away, or maybe my ex-wife will change her story about the fact that she says I punched her in the face. But that's not reality. That's wishful thinking. And too many people who go by wishful thinking end up sitting in jail wishing they made a different decision. So that is why our firm helps people every day in what's called pre-filing investigation. People ask us all the time, how do you successfully defend people facing a crime? Some of our clients are guilty. Some of our clients committed the crime. So the question is not guilt or innocence, but the question is, what is going to happen to him? Is he going to lose his job? Is he going to lose his family? Is he going to lose his pension? And is he going to go to prison? All those things are on the table. And if it was up to the district attorney, those things would happen, especially if the district attorney is arguing for prison. So we get to know, when someone hires us for a crime, we get to know that person, their family, because they become family to us. So we can try to figure out, how can we pitch to the judge and the prosecution that this was a one-off, that yes, this person made a mistake. Maybe it was behind drugs. Maybe it was behind alcohol. Maybe it was behind gambling. We find out, why did the person commit the crime? What was the motivating factor? And then we on our own work with our client to get him the help that he should have had before. We get him in GA for a gambling problem. We get him into therapy if it's a mental health issue. Of course, we get him into AA for alcohol problems, or NA for drug problems. And you don't wait until you get to court. You do this right at the outset, right the very first day the person's out of jail. And then we present a package to the court and to the DA, trying to convince him that that 3-year offer is not good for our client. It may be good for someone else, because the DA often asks, how do I know he won't do it again? How do I know he's not in denial? How? We say, because look what he has done since he was arrested. He has changed his life around. We show him proof of these self-help programs. We often get our client involved in community service, in charitable organizations, to show that he's reaching out to make amends. And if in fact there's an alleged victim, we try to make restitution if that person has lost money for whatever has happened. Those are things that happen when you hire an experienced criminal defense firm that don't happen if you hire someone that doesn't have our level of experience. It's because we have had amazing results. People that were facing 10 years in prison end up getting probation. Sometimes people who have mental health issues, who are facing years in prison, we can convince the court to get them in what's called mental health court, where they don't go to prison, they get the treatment they need. And there's so many things like that in the law that you just don't know if you're not an experienced criminal defense law firm. And that's why we do what we do. And that's why we urge people to hire a law firm with a lot of experience. The next question, of course, is how do we go about learning about the history of a person, their history if they're accused of a crime? Well, because we ask, because we're not taking on too many cases where we're swamped. In some courts, public defenders, for people that are indigent, are swamped with cases, and they just don't have the time to sit down with the client and get to know the client's backstory that they can pitch to the court. Well, we do. We find out everything about the client's background, everything they've ever done good. And guess what happens when we do that? We can put together a good package. And that's why Wallin Klarich has been successful for so many years. A major question we get is, but I don't know how to hire a law firm. Is there a guide to tell me how do I know which lawyer? Lawyers lie. This lawyer sounded really impressive. That lawyer sounded really impressive. How do I pick one lawyer over the other? Well, let's say you're accused of some sort of sex crime. It could be indecent exposure. It could be, peeing in public. It could be anything. But it comes with serious consequences, right? So how do I decide what law firm to hire? Well, first of all, how much experience does that law firm have in these kind of cases? It doesn't make much sense to hire a family law lawyer or a personal injury lawyer when you're facing a sex crime case, does it? You should hire a law firm that has years of experience in representing people in sex crime cases. The next thing you should do, of course, is ask about, do you have prior clients I could talk to? And the lawyer will often say yes or no. It's a very sensitive area, so some people don't want to talk about it. After we've done great for a client, they want to move on with their life. And that's totally understandable. So they may not want to talk to someone. Then read reviews. There are so many sites where you can read reviews about a law firm. And look at, obviously, everyone, you're dealing with people that are very emotional. So it may not be a 10.0 rating, but it could be a very high rating. Read 10 of their reviews, 15, get a sense. There's different websites. There's one, avvo.com, avvo.com. There's martinhubble.com. Google has ratings. Yahoo has ratings. There's so many different ratings that tell you about a lawyer and their experience. Another very, very important thing is find a lawyer who has experience in sex crime cases, but also in the court where you're facing the charge. That's so important because every court is different. You need to know, as a criminal defense attorney, you need to know the judges in that court. You need to know the prosecutors you're dealing with, and you need to have a good reputation in that court. So if you have a case, for example, in Victorville, you would never want to hire a lawyer from Los Angeles who would, number one, have to charge you to drive 2 hours to court and also probably knows very little or anything about that court. But like at Wallin Klarich, we have an office in Victorville. So, of course, our lawyer there knows everyone in that court, and that's what you really need. Another thing to consider is whether you should hire a law firm that's just by himself, a lawyer, or a group of lawyers that are a team. For example, our firm, we have 11 criminal defense attorneys, 11. And when we have a major case, several of our lawyers get involved in the case. And like anything else, if you have 3 lawyers working on a case versus 1, you're much better off. So if you are thinking of hiring a lawyer that's by himself in a law firm, you have to wonder, how many cases is he taking on? What if my case is on court on Thursday and he has another case on Thursday with another person? Is he going to send someone that knows nothing about my case to court? Another important thing that we love to talk about is a first impression. When you first call a law firm, how long did it take you to speak to the lawyer? Did you have to leave 3 messages? Did you not get a call back for 4 hours or maybe till 3 days later? Guess what? If that's how it is when you're first calling, that's probably how it's going to be when you hire that person. If, on the other hand, when you call a law firm, you're able to speak to a lawyer quickly, and the lawyer is kind and doesn't talk down to you and lets you tell your story, that's probably how it's going to be. Because one of the keys in the whole case is what communication will you have with your lawyer. If you're afraid to talk to your lawyer about the facts of the case because you're afraid of his response, or if you're afraid to suggest that you call a certain witness or interview a certain witness, but you don't tell that to your lawyer because you're afraid he's going to say or look down on you, you picked the wrong lawyer. You need to be able to have a relationship with your lawyer where you feel safe and comfortable to discuss the possible outcomes in your case and to discuss strategy and to discuss, hey, what's the worst that could happen in my case? What do you think? Am I going to go to prison? If you have a lawyer you trust and your lawyer says it's just too early, we don't know enough, trust him. Sometimes in a case, we just don't know what's going to happen until we have all the facts, all the police reports, talk to the DA, talk to the judge. That's why it is so important to get a firm that has time for your case. Because we need to know very early in the case, what is your version of the case? What is your defense? Are you saying I committed the crime, but it was in self-defense? Or are you saying they have the wrong guy? I wasn't even there. Or are you saying, yes, I did push the person, but at the time I was intoxicated? And that could be a defense. Another key thing when deciding on a lawyer is don't hire a lawyer that guarantees you a result. Because I guarantee you they can't guarantee you a result. Because no lawyer is allowed to guarantee a result in a criminal case. So if you're looking for a quick feel good and a lawyer says, oh, you're accused of domestic violence and you beat your wife up, sure, I'll call the DA and I'll drop the charges on Thursday. And you whip out your credit card and give the guy $5,000, I assure you you're going to be sorry the next day. Because you know why? Because you cannot guarantee a result. You want to have a lawyer that tells you it's too early to know what's going to happen. I will try my very, very hardest to win your case, but I cannot guarantee a result because that is the truth. Too many lawyers are afraid of losing a client and not getting money from that client if they tell them the real truth. At our law firm, we live by the truth. We'll be kind to you. We'll do everything in our power, but we will never lie to you. And if you ask us a straight question and we can answer it, we'll give you the straight answer, whether you hire us or not. Because I've been doing this for over 40 years, and to be honest with you, our firm is very successful, and we don't need your money. We want to take on cases for people that are good human beings who are wrongfully accused or who might have made a mistake, and they don't want that one mistake to ruin their entire life. I've had the honor of doing criminal defense for 44 years. The only reason I keep doing it is because I know we can continue to help people, and helping people makes me feel happy. Because my whole life, no matter what, maybe my childhood, I'm not sure, I just love to help people out of tough situations. And so if you feel that you are facing something, whether it's a family law case or a criminal case, I strongly urge you to give us a call, and we'll be glad to talk to you for free and guide you. And then if you'd like to hire us, we'll be glad to take on your case. Because at our law firm, the most important thing is getting a great outcome for our clients and at the same time caring about our clients. And don't ever forget that. And I want you to have a great week, and I want you to have a great life. And take care.